Hi everyone, this is Sarah and welcome to my channel, The Spoony Life and Beyond. So today I'm going to be discussing chronic illness, what it is, things that may trigger it, things that we may be able to do to make it easier. I would like to be able to share that information with you. Just to let you know, I'm not a medical practitioner, so none of this is intended as medical advice. If you are concerned about your medical condition, then please do seek medical advice. Sorry, I got a bit of brain fuzz today. Also, if you do see me looking away from the camera and I'm not looking directly at the camera, it's because I'm significantly vision impaired, and so I don't always know where to look, so I tend to wander. So I will start getting into what chronic illness is. So essentially my channel is about chronic illness, disability and invisible illnesses / disabilities. And they do tend to cross over. There are a lot of areas that do cross over between them. So in each live this week, I'm going to go through each one individually, just so people can kind of learn and to raise that awareness, so people can also share the information with the people in their support groups to be able to help support them better as well. So I have got a lot of my information from the Cleveland Clinic, so you can also look that up as well in regards to that. So I can see that there are a few people jumping on now, so I will start jumping into what information there is. And if you do have any questions or anything, please do pop them down below and I may be able to answer them for you. Okay, essentially, what is chronic illness? So according to the Cleveland Clinic, chronic illnesses last a long time, so often for a year or more. You may also have a need for ongoing medical care and difficulties doing the things that you need to do every day, like showering, cooking, cleaning, even just simple tasks. Like even getting dressed, going to the toilet, things like that. So, and these things can also affect your family as well. So some examples of chronic illnesses include things like diabetes, chronic lung disease such as COPD, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, arthritis in general, multiple sclerosis. So there's so many different illnesses that fall under that umbrella of chronic illnesses. Coping with chronic illnesses can be difficult because it's not like having an acute illness like having the flu or bronchitis or a head cold, where you'll feel better and back to normal within, a few days or a week or two, a short period of time. Unfortunately, this isn't the case with chronic illness. It may never go away and it can really disrupt your life in a number of ways. So some of the effects of chronic illness is having the disease-specific symptoms, which may also bring invisible symptoms. So that's the crossover that I'm also talking about, which then falls under the umbrella of the invisible illnesses or invisible disabilities. That could be pain, fatigue, mood disorders. Pain and fatigue may become a frequent part of your day. Along with your illness, you probably have certain things you have to do to take care of yourself. like taking medicine, going to the physiotherapist and doing particular exercises. So keeping up with your health management can also be a stressful task as well, because sometimes it can be quite tedious, especially if, you know, it's something that you have to do on a regular basis. You know, so it can cause a bit of distress, you know, especially when you're having to take a lot of medication, like I find when it does become difficult, having to look at those medications every day and having to take it multiple times a day just to try to be able to function. So there's physical changes from certain diseases can affect your appearance. Like, for example, if you're taking high doses of prednisolone, you can get what's called moon face. Like what I've got at the moment. Mine's not as bad now that I'm starting to taper down, but you get a really round face. So, you know, you can get changes in your appearance. And you know, these changes can turn into a positive change a positive self-image into a poor one. So it can really drop your self-esteem and the way that you view yourself. Which, you know, when you don't feel good about yourself, you may then withdraw from your friends and doing social activities, going on outings. You know, you may lock yourself away a bit more. And so, you know, your family and friends may find that you're not really socializing and being a part of, you know, activities that you normally would do because you've withdrawn yourself. So, you know, you've got that you have to deal with. And then you've got the mood disorders such as depression and anxiety, you know, which are common with people with chronic illnesses, you know, after having to have those changes in their life, you know, and having to sometimes go through losing people in their life, because unfortunately when you go through things with chronic illnesses, you know, you do find that people tend to step away. And sometimes it's because they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, there's that lack of understanding, or it's because they don't have that empathy, or, you know, they don't have it within themselves to have that time to be able to be there, you know, to help support you. So you do also have that as well. So, you know, the thing is though, is with depression and anxiety, fortunately we now have a lot of medications and counselling, seeing a psychologist, etc., that can now help, which are quite effective. So, you know, and it can, the difficulty with chronic illnesses as well is it can affect your ability to work. So you might have to change the way that you work to cope with things like morning stiffness, decreased range of motion, or other physical limitations. You know, and sometimes it also just, it means you just can't work at all. It limits things that you would normally do to participate within society, have work colleagues and peers that you're able to socialise with and talk to each day, you know, and to have some purpose in your life. So, you know, that also then leads to financial difficulties, which therefore causes more stress, which with chronic illnesses, stress, you know, turns everything into a vicious cycle, because you can then tend to start getting flare-ups, etc. Sorry, knocking things over. So, you know, and it also then leads into, you know, that if you live at home and you're, you know, a stay-at-home parent, you're unable to work, it can take much longer to do the normal tasks that you would do if you're able to do them. So you may end up needing to ask for help from, say, your significant other, relatives, a carer, getting in some home help. So as your life changes with chronic illness, you can feel like you are losing some control over your life, which then causes anxiety, uncertainty about the future, and then in some families there could be a role reversal where people who are able to stay at home have to return to work. Stress can build and shape your feelings about life. Long periods of stress can lead to frustration, hopelessness, and at times depression. This can happen not only to yourself, but also your family members, the people that care around you, your support system. Chronic illness, it doesn't just affect one person, it affects everyone within that circle. It does become difficult, and quite often people with chronic illnesses can feel like a burden, especially when things are getting tough. You're having like a relapse, a flare-up, having to ask for help. It really can make it quite difficult. Some of the sources of stress could be the chronic illness itself, uncertainty about the future, the unpredictability of the disease, the disability, again, falling under another umbrella, crossing over, like I was saying before, financial difficulties, and some of the stress symptoms you may find if you're supporting somebody who has a chronic illness, that they may really be struggling, because a lot of the time it is hard to ask for help, because like I said before, you can tend to feel like a burden. Is that the person can become irritable, and they may have difficulty in relationships. They may become quite anxious, tense and sad. There could be a loss in interest in things that the person once really enjoyed, so they lose that passion for things that they really used to be passionate about, wouldn't miss, and then all of a sudden they withdraw from it, or even slowly withdraw from it, and no longer participate. So there could be also like a disturbance in sleep. It could be that they are usually a good sleeper and they're no longer sleeping, or vice versa. They could be sleeping more, and having trouble getting out of bed, not having that motivation to get out of bed. There's also fatigue throughout the day, even with some sleep, not being able to shake that fatigue. The person could also have body aches and pains, including headaches, and also cognitive issues. If somebody has a chronic illness, how can life be better? So the most important step that you can take is to, and it can be hard, is to seek help as soon as you feel less able to cope. And I myself I know personally for myself, this is hard to do. It's a pride thing. I know that there are times where I should ask for help, but I don't, because I'm embarrassed. I feel like a burden. I don't want to put that on somebody else and wear people down in my life. So I just hibernate and try to suffer through it, instead of asking for help. Taking action earlier will help you understand and deal with many of the effects of chronic illness, and learning to manage stress will help you to maintain a positive physical, emotional and spiritual outlook on life. You know, so if you ask for help from a mental health provider, you can actually design a treatment plan that meets your specific needs, that is basically made just for you. You know, and sometimes it can be trial and error, but it's something that isn't just made up out of a textbook for everybody. It's designed just for you. You know, and it can be strategies that help you regain a sense of control and improve your quality of life. Something that everybody deserves. Everyone deserves quality of life. And if you're suffering from depression, your medical health professional may prescribe medications to help regulate your moods and make you feel better. And there are, of course, things that you can do on your own that may help. And some of these tips are things like, you know, your diet, eating a healthy diet, trying to get some physical activity in if you are able to, you know, and trying to avoid negative coping mechanisms like trying to self-medicate with alcohol and substance abuse, and trying to explore things like stress relief activities like meditation. You know, even just sitting outside with a cup of tea in the fresh air, even enjoying maybe a bit of a breeze for a little while, you know, just for that change from being inside, just shifting outside, you know, and letting go of obligations that you really don't need to or want to do. Like, for example, I'm currently learning that if, you know, there are toxic people in my life, I need to remove myself from that situation with that person because I know that it's not good for me. And if I have that stress, because I don't like confrontation, etc., it then causes me to stress out. I also don't sleep, and then it triggers a flare up. I've learned that that's something that I need to do. I'm also what you call a recovering people pleaser. So I've learned that I don't always have to put everybody else first, that it's okay to put myself first, and it's okay for myself to say no, you know, which can be hard to do. Another thing is asking for help when you need it, and remembering you're not a burden. I know it's hard, and I feel like a burden a lot of the time, but you're not actually a burden. And the people that truly love you don't see you as a burden, and it is okay to ask for help. You know, and trying to stay in touch with your family and friends. You know, if you're having a hard time, even if it's just a text message, not even necessarily making a phone call and having to have a proper conversation, because that can be quite fatiguing, and it can wear you down, and it can be difficult, especially when you're having like a brain fuzz day and you know, your words just aren't coming out right, or you're having an emotional day. You know, just sending a text message just saying hi, you know, and just reaching out, you know, and it's just things like that. So, you know, that's kind of like, you know, the information I can give about chronic illness. You know, and if anyone has any input as well that they would like to add in, please do post some comments below. If anyone has any questions, please pop questions down below, because even after the live I will jump on and I will try to answer some questions. And I do appreciate everybody who has come online. I can see you all. Hello. And even pop down where you're watching from. I'm in Perth, Western Australia. And I do hope that the information I've given has helped. like I was saying before, I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not an expert. This is just from personal experience, from myself having a chronic illness, also doing research, from wanting to help advocate for other people and spread awareness to help other people. So it's not just for people with chronic illnesses, it's also for support people. So, you know, I think that we could all do with helping each other, you know, and if you've found something helpful with your chronic illness, I think, you know, it's always good if we can share that with others, because you never know, it may help. So I appreciate everybody for jumping on and listening today, and I shall see you in the next video, and we will be covering disabilities in the next video, and we will also be having a chat this week to discuss autism and discrimination. That will be with our guest speaker, Charlie, so watch out for that one as well. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Bye.